Hi there, welcome along to another edition of Extra Time Unlocked right here on Gagasi FM Gama and the Newswa. And my guest today is someone who is no stranger when it comes to South African netball and KZN netball. She made almost 100 appearances for the Spa Proteas, if I'm not mistaken, and coaching our KZN teams in the Kingdom Queens and the Stars. And I'm just Kuluma Nai as the newly appointed coach of the SA Under-21 netball team, better known as the Baby Proteas. And that is Proteas Mthembu, who's joining us namhlanje on Gagasi FM. Coach, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Gagasi FM.
Thank you so much, Puti. It's good to be here. This is also my hometown. So, I'm excited to speak about my journey of netball and share it with the people of KwaZulu-Natal.
I know usekhaya la bangakhuluma nawe bonke, but when you hear,
this is it.
You know ukuthi usekhaya.
Yeah.
Newly appointed coach for the Under-21 team. Obviously, you worked with different coaches as the assistant coach in the very same setup, but now you are going to be steering the ship forward. How are you feeling about that? You must be excited.
I am very excited. In fact, it was a surprise. I didn't really thought I would take up this position, but in the netball industry, you should always be ready for such things, for call-ups. I had a call from the president and had a word with her just to see where my mindset was. I had to go back and just think about it because it's not just it's that you can just wear.
Sure.
And now, there's a lot of things that are around that I needed to adjust. But yeah, I'm honored, I'm excited. And yeah, it's a group of girls that I'm willing to take up and hopefully pass them on to the Proteas. And I'm thankful to Netball South Africa for, Ungoba saying, hey, you ready for this? Take it. Obviously, they've seen my work that I've done and they trust the process that I'm going to be taking forward with the girls.
Yeah, you say, Uguti, it's something that came as a surprise to you, but do you feel it's the right time for you to take this job? Obviously, you've been around in coaching, as I mentioned, the Kingdom Stars and the Queens, and also as assistant coach under Coach Jenny. Do you feel, Uguti, it's the right time for you to make the step up?
Absolutely. When I was with the Proteas, I encountered a lot of injuries as a player myself. I know the injury that I had playing against Australia. Unumapulama said to me, don't take yourself off the netball court. It's either you become assistant coach of some sort of team, umpire, but stay around the netball itself. It's going to help you grow as a person while you're injured or going through rehab. And I did that. And I took over a club called Gibber Stars at that time. And I started coaching and I just fell in love with the sport itself and the impact that you make. Yeah, that you make on the other side of the table of being a coach, from being a player coach and gradually obviously healing from the injury and coaching and playing at the same time. And, it's been like stepping stones for me into the game and, coaching these various teams. I'm head coach of the UKZA netball at the school. I'm my first team coach. So there are a lot of elements that I've put together like a puzzle that I've put together to realize, would say, okay, I think I can literally sit in this chair eventually. I think the time was good for me, and I think the time was good for Netball South Africa, and hopefully everything else will fall into pieces.
Yeah, obviously you worked with Coach Else Jordan as well, but most recently Coach Jenny Van Dyke, who has now moved on to the Spa Proteas, massively happy for her as well. You've worked with the Coach Jenny for a while, under her wing. What are some of the things that you've learned from her as a coach? She's one of the most revered coaches in the country that you think ungayisebenzisa going into now the role of being the head coach after she was there before you.
You mentioned the two incredible women, Dr. Alsha Jordan, now Jenny Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Great coaches who've been through the game, for the longest, and they've been on courts wearing their golden green elsewhere, and they've experienced a lot of champs winning the Varsity Cup, winning TNL, Bruce of Fruits. So they know the feeling and they know what it's like to be in that level. I've learned so much from Coach Elsha. She's one of the smartest coaches that I've been with. Everything she says comes out of her mouth, and the way she analyzes the game. There are a lot of things that I sit and I listen to her speak to the team, and I just sit down and I jot down things that I can take back to my club, my team, myself as a coach. And with Coach Jenny, the thing that I've learned from her is the level of coaching, that she doesn't settle for mediocre. Everything for her is just high standard, quality coaching, quality the words you say to the girls from the warm up all the way up until the end of the sessions. Same as Alsha as well. And they're two different coaches, the way they think, and Alsha would say she's more of, okay, I think she specializes in analyzing teams.
Sure.
She knows, she can sit down with the team and tell you everything about the team. This is a left-handed player, make sure you
very detailed.
Very detailed.
Yeah.
You bring her to the weakest side, things like that. So yeah, I think all those, different coaches that I've had, I'm taking both the bags, with me and putting them in one bag. And I think I can just say I've sucked them dry with their knowledge and
Yeah.
I've got it with me. And hopefully I'm about to make them proud with what I have and what they've taught me along.
Yeah, so you're going to bring all the knowledge together.
Absolutely.
Now that you're going to be the head coach. Obviously, as I've mentioned, you were assistant coach to both coaches, and every coach needs their own assistant. So now you are at the helm of the SA Under-21 team, and your assistant coach is someone who is a legend when it comes to South African netball, very, very respected within that space. Made a lot of over 100 appearances for the Spar Proteas. That is Phumza Maweni, recently retired as well. On that point, she just left the Spar Proteas setup, coming into now the baby Proteas as your assistant coach. What do you think she's going to bring into the setup, given the fact that you guys develop abadlali for the pipeline going to the Spar Proteas, and the fact that she just left that setup now? What do you think she's going to bring?
Definitely something fresh. She just came off the court. And that freshness definitely needs to be passed on to the players and to me as well. I played with Phumza. We shared hotel rooms, we shared knowledge, we shared jokes, we shared a lot of sadness, as players, and playing on the courts. And there's just so much knowledge within her. I mean, she started playing netball in the later stage of her life, but I wish there was some more legs for her to give for the country. The decision that she's made to retire. I mean, it's good for her in a personal level. And for Netball South Africa to recognize the fact that she needs to, move over, and for her to take the decision that she needs to start coaching, there's something else to look back on. But I think, she's going to bring that sort of role model side into the girls. I mean, the girls who've looked up to her.
Sure.
And, they will listen to her. And obviously, they will, anything that's fresh, and she's experienced playing against Australians, New Zealand, was not something that she did 5 years ago. It's something that's recent, World Cup player. So hopefully the freshness, I could say the freshness from coming from the court, definitely to coaching. I'm excited to share ideas with her and, take these girls to another level, hopefully to the World Cup.
And just explain on that point of having someone who just came from the Proteas, made over 100 appearances. You almost clocked a century as well. Like, how important is it to not only be a coach, but also have that background of being a former player to understand abadlali, what do they go through on the field, and having Phumza alongside you in that process? How is it important, or how important is it to have both of you guys former players and now going into the coaching of young players?
Yeah, I think it's very important because we've been there. Emotionally, physically, it's really important. I mean, we have about 2 girls who are at high school in that squad.
Yeah.
So, they need to understand, we need to try and adapt. I mean, I work on a school level, so I understand the girls' mental states in terms of mentoring them, in terms of making sure that we balance their schoolwork, balance their studies and things like that. And for her, coming from, such a good setup, playing in Australian League, England League, and having to play against these teams also, the mental states of maintaining the level of the focus on the field. And I think she'll bring that, that state of, it's okay. We can do it again. We've been through that as a country. I've been there as a player.
Yeah.
All the experience that she's had, she's encountered the injury side of things. That eventually you go through that and it's over. But I think she will definitely bring a different element of my side of coaching, where she just came from the courts itself.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've said our congratulations to you guys. And it's we are in that week now. You guys are preparing for qualifiers for the Netball Youth World Cup that's going to be happening next year. And you've already selected your squad of 12 players that are abazongenensimeni this week. I believe you guys are playing in Pretoria for the African qualifiers. So how are the preparations going for that?
Yeah, so the girls will settle in on Thursday for camp. They'll come from different areas of the country. And yeah, we start straight away. First day arrive off the plane,
Mm.
we need to get into the courts and start working and start analyzing the countries that you'll be playing against. I mean, African countries you can see now, they've been doing a lot of work in terms of netball. We can't really undermine any of them.
Yeah.
We saw how Uganda did against us. So, we need to start working. We will train from Thursday up until the weekend, and then the tournament will start.
Mm.
I think all the girls we don't have any injuries at the moment.
Mm.
We had about 15 players in Cape Town. It was sad to drop those 3 impressive girls.
Yeah.
But we had to do the job of selecting only 12. We have a lot of senior players in the team to qualify us for the qualifiers, and eventually, obviously, next year those senior players will drop out for the World Cup. So we really selected the players who played the Telkom League, Vasa Cup. So they experienced a lot of plays, and obviously we've adjusted the team with a lot of under 19s and 18s. Who played the Region 5. So they also have a lot of experience, but hopefully we're using the senior players to qualify for Africa, and then hopefully going to the World Cup next year.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to know about the succession plan. Obviously, Coach Jenny is now with the Spa Proteas. Is she going to be involved in any way in terms of the work that you guys are going to be doing with the under-21 side, given the fact that, it's a group of players that could potentially go to the Spa Proteas in future? So what is the collaboration, if you'd say, between the two of you guys?
It's big. It's big. Her and I had a chat about it. I said to her, I'm going to be bugging you almost every day, and she's up for it. The Proteas don't have much of competition at the moment, which is so fitting for her to still be involved with the baby Proteas. So yeah, there's a lot of resources that her and I are going to be sharing, ideas, setups, because at the end of the day, her and I need to have be in the same mindset about bringing these players and have depth in the country. So these players are actually being passed on to the senior side, and making sure that whatever she says in the top, it's almost relates to the baby Proteas. They can't get up there and the next thing it's all a big fight for them. They understand what's expected for them of being a Protea player, and hopefully her and I will have longer conversations about the way forward and a bigger picture of netball South Africa and SA.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously all the best to what you're going to be doing this weekend with the qualifiers, and definitely know you guys are going to go to the World Cup next year. But before I let you go, Precious, I have to speak about the Kingdom Stars.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about the Queens because you're not coach of the Queens at the moment. Obviously, KZN people want to know the plans that you guys have for this year. TNL wasn't great last season, also falling down to the second division. But how are you guys looking to bounce back from that? What are some of the things that you would be looking to work on?
Yeah, these things need to happen eventually. Us stripping down to the B division, I think it was bound to happen. I think it's good. It's good to know you can start. We went back and looked what really happened, and as a province, there's just so much talent in here in this province. Like netball players are all over. We've got KZN Super League, we've got regional league, we've got development systems that are going on around. There's just something. Coach Jenny said to me, I think you're one of the provinces that every time in the Telkom League there's a fresh and a new face. That just shows the corner skwenzayo like KZN njalo. And it's a 50-50 catch, because if you have a new face, obviously that face is an experience.
Yeah.
But in a way, every year there's something else. And, we're in the position now where my players are moving to Joburg. And they're playing for the Gauteng Jaguars and the Powerball. And, we just literally, I'm a player, because of education, unfortunately, they decide to go and study elsewhere, which, it's something that we can't hold back to players. But I think, we got some youngsters. We did the provincial champs 2 weeks ago, and we had a camp last week where we chose the final teams. And I think the team's pretty young, a bit of an inexperience also. But I think, again, going back into B division, we deserve to be there. And I think it's a good thing for us to start and building on something, each year, and eventually we will, start doing well and making sure these players, they need to realize that they need to take care of themselves holistically. It's it's trying to maintain in that level is quite tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of elements around it, but just make sure that we as a province also need to support them. But there's a lot of things that are around that a player needs to make sure sala lap in that level of I'm a TNL player, I need to do 1, 2, 3 in order for me to maintain this level.
Yeah,
so just started.
Yeah, just a final question on my side. Would you say that's the biggest challenge for you as a coach, having to deal with the fact that abadlali, they're constantly moving on to other teams, and you always have fresh faces in your team, especially competing in a tough competition like TNL? Would you say that's the biggest challenge for you?
Absolutely. It's huge. It's huge. We've lost a number of players who are now playing the Proteas. And there's nothing we can do about it. But I think one thing KZN has suggested was for me to be involved in university. So I was appointed, it's my 3rd year now in University of KZN. And, I've been there for some 2-3 years now, and it's doing well.
Sure.
And we're giving scholarships to players who are around in the province. This year we gave about 6 players we've maintained in the province, and they're doing well. And all of them have been chosen into the Kingdom Queens and Stars. So I think that's a stepping stone. And for me, obviously, to try and be involved in universities and high school, making sure that, I go out there, making sure it's Gikona at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and our players need to obviously pass school in, because you kids at end, it's,
it's tough.
You need to have good points for you to be enrolled at university. It's an academic university. So, I think my involvement with school level I think it's a good platform for me to be involved in university, so my players can stay here. I mean, I'm sure most of them will want to be coached by me, not bragging, but I think, so I think it's a good way for me to flag and say, I am here, we'll stay in the province, let's build on and let's move on from there.
Hi, Coach. We're going to have to leave it here for today, but I know you're always available to chat to us, to talk about, umsebenzi owenzayo, your plans for the future. You do a lot of great work in the province and in netball South Africa as a whole. So we're really proud of you as umuntu wakhona la esifundazweni, and all the best with the baby Proteas and as well with the Kingdom Stars later on in the year. Thank you so much for joining us. And that's where we're going to leave it for this week as far as Extra Time Unlocked is concerned. And we're going to be back again next week with more.